So this is the new wind tunnel. And this costs 12 million. And we're sure it's worth it. Who's that in the booth? Is that Mick Schumacher? Who let him in? Mick, don't you dare turn this thing on with me in here. Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Kicking Haas. Today we have the Hungarian Grand Prix, the last race before the summer break, of course. And well, we've got a little bit of things to catch you up on that have happened in and around our factory. Now, first thing, speaking of the factory, if we go to facilities, we will see that we have upgraded our wind tunnel. So, excuse me, that's now a level 2 wind tunnel, which will help with obviously developing the car and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, that's obviously a good thing. Still a long way to go before we get sort of to a level that I think we need to be at. But the one good thing about managing Haas is that, yes, we have a good car season 1, but the factory, like sort of the facilities are really not fantastic. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. Now, wind tunnels are expensive, so it's going to be a little while, I think, before we get to do more on this. But level 2 we have, and because I think what we're going to be looking to now is start to develop next season's car. So that's going to definitely help us with the research for that, I would imagine. I don't really know, to be honest. Now, speaking of developing the car, if we go and have a look at the car, we have got, well, what's happened is we've got in development, our underfloor and our side pods are done. They've been designed. What we're doing now is we're manufacturing them. Now, I could have rushed these things through for the Hungarian race. It would have been, I think, the underfloor, instead of being 700,000 to get 5 of them, it would have been, I think, like 3-point-something million. Now we have 8.5 million in the bank, so that's a massive chunk, and it would have been something similar for the side pod. So given that the summer break is coming up, what I've done is the side pods will probably be with us a little bit after the summer break, the Belgian race, but we'll have some. We won't have all 5, but the underfloor will be ready for, so we're just basically missing them for one race, and we save, you know, the best part of $3 million. So I think we had to do that. That was sort of almost a non-negotiable, really. And you'll see here that we are researching the underfloor now for next year's car. I think at the summer break is probably a good time to start to turn our focus towards next year's car so we can hit the ground running next season. So that's what we'll do. We've done the underfloor. We had some research time available, and then we'll basically use our time in the wind tunnels and whatnot. We'll use that now for next season's car. So yeah, that attention is turning towards next season. Now, if we're going to have a look at our drivers, Logan Sargeant, we saw at the end of last episode with a chance to develop his abilities. So I think what we will do is we'll go for cornering. So he becomes a 71 rated driver now. Well done, Logan Sargeant. And if we go and have a look, K-Mag still, I mean, he's going to develop much slower because he's 29 and pretty much the finished product. But Correa has a development point as well. So let's just, what do we want to make least worst? Let's go with cornering for him. But like I say, as soon as Jack Crawford is ideally the one, then Correa will be out the door anyway. Now, staff developments, we don't have anything there or anything there. We don't have anything for Gannon, but Ed Reagan has a development point, and we will use that, I think, for pit crew management, because I'm assuming that that's going to, yeah, faster pit stops. So we will obviously be doing that because our pit stops are the ones that are not fantastic just now. So that is everything there. Not much else, I don't think, to catch you up on. So let's go and have a look at what we're doing for the race. Hungarian Grand Prix, of course. We can see here we're expecting dry weather conditions, it looks like, throughout the weekend. There is the circuit map with sectors for qualifying and sections by speed, car attributes. We can see there, so a low, medium speed corner track with acceleration is basically what we need. Time considerations for safety cars and pit stops and all that kind of stuff are there as well. And expected strategies, it's expected to be, it looks like, well, a marginal 1 stop. No, well, if you can go soft hard, it's not marginal, is it? Medium hard is going to be the way to go. So that's what we'll look to do. We don't need to worry about saving tyres in free practice. And in terms of our performance targets, reach Q2, we should be able to do that. Should we get K-Mag into the top 12? Yeah, let's go for a little bit of extra cash. It doesn't cost us too much if we don't get there, and we get a nice little bit of cash if we do. Fastest lap is, we don't really have a car to get fastest lap. We need another car, so that should be easy enough to do. So we get someone in the top 14 this race, we'll get that money. And finishing position streak, we should be able to get someone in the top 14, shouldn't we? Surely. So there we go. Now, of course, Logan Sargeant managed to get his first career points last time out in France. So let's hope that there he is there. You got 2 of them. Let's hope he can add to that here. Let's go to Hungary. All right, so we can see here confirmation of the weekend's weather. Clear, partly cloudy, clear skies, and cloudy. I'm going to go do free practice, and I will see you for qualifying. All right, so free practice is done. Now, if we go and have a look at the results of this, unfortunately, well, both drivers have had an accident, but unfortunately for Logan Sargeant in FP1, his accident involved somebody else. So he's going to have what I'm assuming is going to be a 3-place grid drop. But the good news is that K-Mag has been inside the top 10. For all but this one where he was just outside on a medium tyre, and Sargeant has been not too far away from him. You can see Sargeant is sort of just outside the top 10. So it's looking as though we will get Magnussen into Q3, Sargeant will be outside of Q3 and then have what I'm expecting to be a 3-place grid drop, and it is confirmed as indeed a 3-place grid drop. And yeah, there we go. Like I said, they have both had accidents, so we had to emergency build some front wings to make sure we had enough. So that cost us $1 million, which is annoying, but anyway. All right, so here come the Haasers out to start Q1, and hopefully it'll be a relatively pain-free session. Okay, so it is Logan Sargeant coming around to start his lap. You can see he's P13 and Magnussen is P8. Magnussen should be safe here. We go and have a look at some sector times. The issue we might have is with Sargeant, but hopefully he will do enough here to get through. I think he did get slightly blocked in his first lap. Russell and Vettel both came out of the pits in front of him, and he sort of caught them at this sort of sector 2 here. So sort of, I think it was after, not this corner, the next corner, he sort of caught them both in this section of the track, which obviously isn't ideal because there's nowhere really to overtake. And he has done a green first sector, so he's on the improve. And unfortunately, there's some cars behind him. Magnussen is last on track, but there are some cars behind Sargeant that are doing green sectors as well. Should have the next sector split coming out on the exit of this corner, I believe. And there it is there. So Sargeant is indeed going faster in both sectors. Magnussen's gone faster in sector 1. So let's see what we're going to get here from Logan. If he can get himself ahead of a couple of cars, then that should be good. Ricciardo has not out-qualified him. You'd hope that that would mean Norris as well will not out-qualify him. We don't need to worry about that. We have fueled appropriately for qualifying. He does go faster, but he stays in 13th. Magnussen is down to 9th. Last man on track, of course. Sargeant, well, he's got all the cars behind him are going faster. We've got a Williams, this looks like, holding up K-Mag at this point. But K-Mag gets through. It looks like, yeah, we've also got Sargeant through, and say K-Mag goes 7th as well. So Q1 successfully negotiated. Leclerc fastest, but he does have a grid penalty coming up. So let's see what we can do in Q2. We will go first run on used tyres to try and save some fresh sets for the race, just in case we happen to need them. Alright, so Sargeant coming around to start his lap. Both drivers have done a lap on used tyres. K-Mag was out first. I just sent him out to hopefully just get his lap done. He's currently 7th. It's Sargeant in 11th right now. Half a second he's got to find, which is a big ask. And to be honest, we weren't really, I don't think, expecting him to get into Q3. But we'll see how he goes. Let's go and have a look at some sector times here. Guanyu Zhou, who is behind him, is currently on a green first sector and a green second sector. I mean, if he could get 11th, lose these 3 places, start 14th, that's probably the best we can hope for here, I think. Magnussen, he's coming around to finish his lap. And Magnussen, does he stay 7th? It looks like he does. But that should be enough for him to get out of the session. He has been sort of the 7th fastest car the entire weekend, more or less, as Sargeant drops down to 12th. And I mean, 7th for Mags, basically it's best of the rest, isn't it? 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bull, 2 Mercedes in front of him, and then comes K-Mag, which is absolutely brilliant. Sargeant has done 2 green sectors. Let's see if he can get ahead of Bottas, potentially. Ricciardo and Tsunoda will be behind him. And Ocon has gone in front, so he's currently 13th. He can't drop any further. Can he boost himself up? If he's starting 16th, you wonder if it might be worth taking some penalties for later in the season. But let's see where he goes here. He comes across the line, and Sargeant is 13th. So Logan eliminated from Q2 with the 3 places. That's going to mean a 16th place start, depending on what Leclerc's penalty is. But we go with K-Mag into Q3, and hopefully we might go use set right in the first set. Yeah, and then we can go second run on that, and we'll have fresh tyres for the race. Yeah, okay, let's go K-Mag. Alright, so K-Mag coming around for his final run of Q3. Now, he was horribly blocked by Hamilton. You can see he's a second and a half off the pace and 10th right now. So that should be something we can improve upon. Thankfully, oh, he's had to lift there, has he? Oh, I think he's had to lift for the spin of Guan Yu Zhou. So he might be going to get double screwed here and have to start 10th. We'll see. But I'm pretty sure I heard a lift. The Guan Yu Zhou's already in front of him on the track. No, he's gone green in the first sector. So that should be okay. He didn't get blocked by Hamilton to sort of this corner here. So everything up until then is more or less, you know, a fair comparison. Let's have a look what everybody else is doing. Nobody else is going faster. Now that might be down to Guan Yu Zhou's spin. So hopefully, by going out sort of last car on track, not only do we get the best track conditions, as we've gone green in the second sector as well, but we actually did miss the issue that Zhou had. So he's not going to go any faster. Gasly hasn't gone any faster. Bottas is unlikely to go faster. Zhou hasn't gone faster. So let's see what K-Mag can do. Can he push himself up the grid? We don't need to refuel. He's 7th, which is where he's been all weekend. Well done, K-Mag. So there we go, that is how qualifying, and he wasn't a mile away from the Mercedes either, you know, so that's, and also Perez, so he's in the race for sure for some big points here, but 7th would be absolutely fine if we can get it. Now, if we go and have a look at what we're doing in terms of a race strategy, we know that the weather is going to be cloudy, of course, and it looks to be at a one stop, really, doesn't it? Mediums onto the hards, and then we've got a fresh set of softs if we need them late in the race because of a safety car or something along those lines. Now, he is starting 15th. So I'm assuming Leclerc is behind him. Now, that begs the question, is that worth... Where are we? Car parts here. Everything he has is fairly new. He's got... I don't really see a sense in taking penalties because Sargeant took penalties not that long ago, didn't he? To get... yeah, so he's fine. That's fine. We'll leave it with that. K-Mag, do we be more adventurous with him? We don't want... I don't think we want to do an extra stop, do we? Soft to hard is marginal. And I don't think we're going to gain that much. I think we are actually just racing. If we get 7th, sort of defend our position there, best of the rest, then that is more or less, I think, what we want to do, isn't it? That'll be a good day out for us. So we will ERS the first lap or so. And, yeah, well, let's go do this Hungarian Grand Prix. All right, here we go. A Red Bull Ferrari front row. I didn't say, oh yeah, Leclerc is right at the back there. So he's going to come through. Magnussen's actually starting 6th. We will ride on board with K-Mag. He's our main hope just now. We'll keep an eye on Sargeant. Looks like there's a lot of guys on soft tyres at the start, so they're going to be marginal all the way through, or they're going to be doing an extra stop. So... that gives us something, especially Sargeant. Look at all those soft tyre runners in front of him. That will give us something to race with there. Now, we've unfortunately lost a position to Zhou there with Magnussen, which is annoying. And, of course, Hungary, not the easiest track to overtake on. And it looks like George Russell already is going to be a bit of a cork in the bottle as he is dropping off significantly. Oh, go on, K-Mag. Can he get a move done at the back of Hungary into the chicane? He's got the inside line. Show him some curb. There we go, K-Mag. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And we'll go and have a look at intervals. But yeah, George Russell is significantly slower than the cars in front. And we've seen this before from Russell, haven't we? Not always. And that's a terrible line into that corner, George. Not always the most... what's the word I'm looking for? The quickest during a race, perhaps. Sargeant has moved himself up to 14th. I think the key for Sargeant here might be just keep your tyres alive and wait for the soft runners to sort of start to struggle a little bit. And when DRS is available, here we go. We've got our ERS activated. Can we go and get one down the inside of Russell? We're certainly in a good position to do just that. Late on the brakes, K-Mag. And... Oh, can we get this done? Russell's going to have the inside line for the next one. But I don't think that's going to matter, because we are in front, and it looks like we're clearly in front, as K-Mag sweeps in to take the best line there. Sargeant goes up to 13th, or is it? Because we've got Norris coming back up the inside, showing some curb. There we go. So this is really, really promising. We've got K-Mag in 5th, Sargeant in 13th, and that's been a good first few laps of the race, hasn't it? Let's just back off the ERS and try and save it a little bit in case we need it later in the race. Can we stick a move up on Ricciardo as well? Oh, go on, Logan. This is magnificent from our young American. And he should have the inside there to get this move done and dusted. Is Ricciardo still there? No, it looks like that's done.
Great job on that.
So, onwards we go now to Alonso, and Sargeant looking good for back-to-back points here, you've got to say. DRS is now enabled. Of course, it won't be until next lap, because the detection point is on, obviously, the end of the lap there. And Sargeant Ricciardo is battling away, but there's a little bit of a gap developing in front of Ricciardo, so Sargeant's got the move done, and hopefully now he can push on, break that DRS, and yeah, go from there. Magnussen, there's definitely a Magnussen train that's developed as well, as he is 5 seconds off the pace of the top 4. And so we've got Magnussen and Sargeant. Haas's are definitely the heads of trains right now, as Ocon has got past everybody there. Now, how did he do that? Was that at the end of the straight with DRS? Oh, he's taken 2 in 1 on a soft tyre, so that maybe explains that a little bit. But very nicely done from Esteban Ocon. But of course, we've got to remember, there's soft tyre runners that are around us. They're either going to fade. Leclerc gets Sargeant, which is fair enough. If Leclerc can drag Sargeant along, though, he's already up to the back of the Magnussen train. Zoe has got past as well. Now, what's happened to Ocon? Ocon has made a mistake, has he? He has. He's dropped down to 17th. So Magnussen he's holding people up, isn't he? As he gets back, drops behind Russell. And that might be for the best here, as Sargeant overtakes Ricciardo again. And I mean, these are just DRS battles, aren't they, right now? The overtaking is getting done down that front straight. Leclerc is absolutely flying. And now, is he on a soft tyre? Let's have a look at where these soft tyre runners are. So, unfortunately, no. We've got medium runners that are ahead of Magnussen now. Sargeant, though, is in a good spot. I wonder a little bit, as Hamilton is locked up now. It hasn't cost him anything in terms of positions. Oh, and it's a lock-up from Sargeant. Did he make the wall? I think he stopped it. That is a massive, massive shame for Logan Sargeant, though. He will drop to the back of the field. And, well, it's the same angle. We don't actually know, but I don't see any damage. No, there's no aero damage there, so... Oh, Logan, you were going so well. And he's back all the way now behind Ocon. If he can tack onto the back of him, Ocon might be able to drag him forward. And we can see that K-Mag is sort of in a Guan Yu Zhou train just now. And he's got a little bit of a gap behind him as well. So, not too badly positioned. As the gap behind is getting closed up fairly quickly. But if we can stay there... I mean, the thing we know with K-Mag is that he can make a move. And we are saving a little bit of fuel just now, as well as Carlos Sainz makes what is surely the first of 2 stops. Did he go onto a hard tyre? He did. So he is trying to do this as a one-stop, soft to hard, which doesn't strike me as the best way to do this race. Because he's now going to be... I mean, all these guys that are coming into pit for the hard tyre, they're going to be on the back foot now, because what's going to happen is we're going to go on, put a hard tyre on that is fresher than theirs and be able to push longer. So they've had their advantages. Perez has stopped on track, has he? What is Perez doing there? Says he's in the pit, but that's certainly at least got a very strange pit box, if that's his... Anyway, so Sargeant's back up to 11th. And I feel like we might have a little bit of a... I want to see what's happening here. Hang on, let's go on board with K-Mag and see if Perez is indeed just sitting in the middle of the track here. So Gasly is locked up, but let's see, do we see Perez, or is it just the GPS tracker is a little bit off? No, he is there. I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to change your tyres there, Sergio. If I'm completely honest. You've overshot your pit box a little bit. Oh, alright. Well, we'll just pretend that's not there. Of course, there's still pit stops to come, but Magnussen is in a fairly decent position here. Of course, Vettel is holding up everybody there. Now, if Sargeant, does he have enough DRS? Oh, he's locked up again. Logan. He was just getting himself into a decent position with a 13-second gap. And what has he done? He was just starting to find himself maybe getting back into this race. And, well, he's made the fence that time, hasn't he? And that's going to really, really hurt him. We'll have to call him in. I mean, it's more or less within a window because we've seen from everybody else that they're trying to do it. So there's no reason why he can't. But well, we'll save the ERS as well. There's no point burning through that. So K-Mag enters his pit window. He's going to have a Ferrari getting past him, which is absolutely fine because they're not in our race. But if he can go with him a little bit now, then, well, he might drag him a little bit clear here. So there goes Sargeant into the pits. He is going to find himself dropping all the way back down to 18th where he started after his first lockup. And that is very, very frustrating. Did they change the front wing? The chassis has minor damage. Okay, so he's going to struggle for the rest of this race. Unfortunately for him. Did they not change the tyres? Oh, I put it... What have I done? I've stuffed something up there, haven't I? Alright, well, let's pit with K-Mag this lap. I don't think I changed his tyres. I'm tempted with Sargeant. If we pit him again, is he going to go a lap down? I'm tempted just to retire the car. Oh, we won't do that. Well, we have to pit him again, though, because I'm an idiot. Sorry, Logan. This is 100% on me. Forgot to change your tyres. And Magnussen is now... Well, he has now almost caught... Have we got a lap down to... Oh, no, Sainz just came out of the pit. So where's Hamilton? Hamilton stopped as well, did he? Okay, so they are two stopping. Okay, so that changes things a little bit here. In that we now need to make... we don't have the fresher tyres anymore. Luckily, we've got a little bit of petrol in the tank, so we can push on a little bit. I've just got to keep an eye on that, though. I mean, it doesn't really matter with... I mean, Sargeant's tyres, it says, are not going to get there. So maybe we just... Oh, because he came in that little bit earlier, didn't he? Which probably explains that. We've got a Sector 2 crash, do we? It's not Magnussen, who's currently sitting 4th, which is magnificent. Vettel has crashed. Now, what tyres did they go on to? So Hamilton went on to a medium. So if we were to get a safety car here, I think what... I mean, we've got to get the safety car first, but I think what we might do is look to go on to a soft tyre. Now, Hamilton and Russell are hopefully going to battle each other and hold each other up and let K-Mag run off into the distance here. I am trying... We're saving ERS, so we have that later on in the race if needed. Where's Sargeant? So Sargeant is catching Stroll and Albon. Let's see if he can get past. I mean, then he's got himself back up into 14th. And, I mean, it's a race of what could have been, isn't it? If he didn't have to make... If I'd had, you know, changed everything properly the first time... I mean, he could still have been on for points. Because you look where the guys in 10th are running around. They're, you know, half a lap in front. It's not an extremely long lap. And unfortunately, Hamilton has now got past Russell. But we are running out of laps. 13 laps to go. And there is a fair bit of traffic between Hamilton and ourselves. So he's made mincemeat of that. And he is now catching us very, very quickly. How are we looking on tyre life? Suddenly not very good. And with 10 laps to go, we might start to use some overtake to try and stay away from Hamilton. And we'll jump on board for the final few laps if we are indeed able to stay in front. Actually, we should probably go to defend. Is this a safety car? It's too late, I think, to come in if it is. I've got a yellow flag. We've got to go off of the petrol now to make sure we get to the end. I mean, fourth was always... I mean, I wasn't expecting fourth. Guan Yu Zhou has crashed as well now. Worst case scenario, though, here, we're going to be sitting sixth, aren't we? Perez has gone out of the race. And so we're still looking okay for best of the rest. All right, let's see what sort of defense we can put up here with K-Mag. Tyres, oh yeah, they're marginal. And I think if we go normal, neutral, and then if we just go down the front straight, that's where we need to defend, isn't it? That's realistically the only place that he's going to be able to get us. And what we might need to do is look to harvest the rest of the lap. He's got DRS here. We don't really have anything to defend with. And this might be us dropping back to fifth. Can K-Mag defend it? The battery's empty. So we might as well go to harvest. Oh no, the battery's back there again. And, well, he managed to hold him off. So excellent work from K-Mag. And we're going to need to go onto defensive now. But we've got even less than we did last time around. Can we just get enough to get down the straight and hold him behind? I don't think we are. This might be the lap. Hamilton's in front. And now the question is, can we get him back? I don't know if we get DRS on this next zone. Or if it's going to be him again. No. So that's that done. So we go back to neutral. And we might even just look to conserve our tyres here. Hamilton's gone. Russell is a little bit behind us. Now, what's his tyre life like? Much better than ours. So, yeah, if we just go a little bit lighter on the tyres here. We don't want that gap getting anything less than 5 seconds, I wouldn't have thought. And Russell is just now catching a little bit. And he's back down to 2 seconds. We've got a little bit of extra thing. Are we just going to lap down? Which would be magnificent in a way if we have. Because... no, that's Sargeant. That's on to the last lap. So we've got 2 laps to go. And we're still 2.3 seconds in front. And we do have a little bit of tyre life there. We can go 3% a lap. This should be fine. And then, of course, even if he does catch us, there's nowhere really to overtake until, you know, once you pass those first 2 corners, you're going to struggle to overtake anybody anyway. And we do have a little bit of petrol in the bank for everybody.
No more lifting coast.
So it looks like Sargent's going to fight. Yeah, Sargeant is Albon's just gone away from him 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds. So I wonder if that was a little bit affected by being lapped as well. But we're about to come around and start our last lap. And unless there's a mistake here from K-Mag, it looks as though he is going to beat 1 Mercedes and 1 Red Bull and come in 5th.
Starting final lap.
Which would be amazing. He really is carrying this team, isn't he? He's a wonderful, wonderful driver, is K-Mag. So the race has just been won by Charles Leclerc, who has come... he had a penalty. He's come from the back of the grid to win the race. He's done a Verstappen.
Checkered flag, checkered flag.
Now, is that a 1 stop that he's done? Yeah, it is. He's 1 stopped it, but so was Verstappen. How has he ended up 30 seconds or so ahead of Verstappen? That is crazy to me. I mean, we've dropped 14 seconds off the back of Hamilton, but look at this. Only 6 cars stayed on the lead lap. So, you know, that is very, very impressive for us. We've got the summer break coming up now. That will give us, of course, a chance to get the new underfloor onto the car and possibly the side pods as well. And, yeah, I mean, we're in a good position, I would think, to see out our target of 6th in the Constructors. So we can look to next season now. And, yeah, I think it's going to go very, very nicely indeed. But here we go, Kevin Magnussen coming around the final corner. A mistake-free race, everything it wasn't in France, and he has come in to clock 5th. Wonderful stuff, K-Mag. Brilliant. Love your work.
Good drive, mate.
So Charles Leclerc up 19 places to win the race. What a performance that is. K-Mag brings home 10 points. And Sargeant, yeah, I mean, he's 2 laps down. One of those laps is definitely my fault. If he could have... Yeah, I mean, we'll never know. We'll never know. I mean, he don't crash, as I said at the time. Then that solves that problem. So K-Mag goes up a position ahead of Alonso to 8th in the championship, which is very, very nice indeed. And Sargeant will stay where he is, I would imagine, down there. Where is he? 15th. Excellent stuff, Logan. And the constructors, we stay 6th. We've got a... What's that? I'm going to have to do maths. Is that a 16-point gap to AlphaTauri? We're looking fairly comfortable-ish in 6th, I would hope, anyway, for the rest of the season. And do we have any development points? Sargeant, no. K-Mag, yes, there we go. So we can add that next race, and there's Juan Manuel Correa as well. Guys, that's it for today. If you've enjoyed that, make sure you hit thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. K-Mag does it again, bringing in a 5th. And after the summer break, we'll be back for the Belgian Grand Prix. See you there.